Okay, welcome to the first amateur video for the Mantis spinning wheel. This is the Nanuk 920 case. It's a beautiful professional case. And I'm going to pretend I just got this brand new UPS, took it out of the box, and show you how to set it up. Case opens like so. And you'll note that I picked the spinning wheel up by the drive shaft. It's completely safe. It's got a super robust solid steel drive shaft. And so I want to show it to you. Give it business end towards the camera here. First thing you probably notice is the transparent bobbins, which allow you to see what you're spinning and give it a really interesting look. It has in a soft light spinning, it's really relaxing. It has a little flicker of firelight sort of reflecting off of the pulleys. So that's kind of a hallmark feature. Nothing functional about it other than the fact that you can see through, which is why I did it. I find it difficult to crane my neck to see the fiber winding on, so it's kind of nice. But second thing to notice is that the wheel is folded. Okay, it doesn't fit in the case unless it folds down, and it folds about this axis here, so I can lift up the main armature, which carries the bobbin. I can just lift it by the shaft. Again, you're not going to harm this. That's a 1/2 inch polished hardened stainless drive shaft in there, and it's actually a really safe place to pick the wheel up. So there's a small linch pin. This is a hand welded linch pin, and that goes in to keep it in the erect position. And once I slip the pin in there into that joint, it now stands up, so it's no longer in the folded position. And the orifice is also on an arm, and it rises up to match the spindle. So I just line that up, and then we've got this knurled knob here. You just gently put a turn on that to tighten that up, and keeps it in place. May as well show you the control panel while we're at it. This is stainless steel. The electronics are underneath. It's an Arduino-based control system, and you basically have just speed, direction. You turn it this way, it reverses. Turn it this way, it goes forward. If you turn it more in the direction it's turning, it turns faster. If you turn it less of the direction it's turning, it turns slower. That's a nice slow speed there. On, off. And if you get to the point where you want to shut it down, the folding of the arm automatically flicks the switch off. So that's just basic stuff there. Not reinventing the wheel at all. So those two simple steps of lifting this armature, putting the pin in, and raising the orifice arm, it's ready to spin. So with the addition of power. So I got to plug it in, and it's now ready to go. Of course, I just had the switch flicked on. So now, second thing to notice, I am going to diddle around with this, and let's see, I'll just grab some fiber off of here, yarn. Didn't do such a good job getting that to twist. It's important to me that I be able to grab this and do that. I don't want to have to mess with it. So I'll put this over the hook, and these are rather interesting little spiral shaped hooks, which you'll see in the photographs more clearly probably. But they work beautifully, and they facilitate the use of the Capstan arm. So the flyer arm is actually a patented device. It's a Capstan flyer arm, and it utilizes what's called a Capstan principle, where you wind the fiber around the flyer arm and into the second hook. So I'll give you a close-up there. We've got it wound around there. Those winds perform a very, very crucial function, and they're the distinguishing factor that makes this wheel unique. I might as well explain that at this point. If I pull on both ends of this and then try to slide it back and forth, I'm putting quite a force on there and I'm not getting any motion because the wines have locked onto the flyer arm to a certain extent. They've got a good grip. That grip will become less if I use less wines. Now it's fairly soft. Take only one wind, now it's almost no grip. And they're cumulative, so if I add one turn, it adds its own resistance, plus it increases the resistance of the previous turn. If I add another turn, same thing. 3 turns is a good place to start. It gives you a terrific grip here so that I can pull while I'm spinning as hard as I want to. But it's not going to unwind yarn, and when I release, it will quickly take up onto the bobbin. So it's quite different than a typical spinning wheel in that way. Tension's just super adjustable to the user. You can spin a very fine cobweb weight cotton on this, and if you put, say, 4 turns on this with cotton, it'll cancel out the aggressive take-up during the draw process so that you can work the fibers, but then when you release, it unlocks this instantly and takes up. So you have the best of both worlds. It's really an awesome device. And this is a quick thread orifice, which means that I slide the yarn down here, lift, and I'm threaded. It's a boon to me because I really don't like fidgeting yarn around and trying to rethread it, and I'm not that good of a spinner, so I need to thread it a bunch. So that's the basics of setup, and it is actually now ready to spin. And I'll show you something here. This is a really nice feature to me because in the middle of spinning, I stop and say I need to move the hook to redistribute the yarn. Then I'm going to start again, and my hand is here, but say I've got fiber and yarn in this hand and I want to have control of that. Well, when I start it, nothing happens for a second, literally. That gives me time to move my hand all the way back here before there's action happening at the business end. Didn't really prepare for that, but okay. So I'll kind of get going here. And all spinners get silent when they start spinning, right? So if you notice, I am able to simply hold this like this. It's not pulling the thing out of my hand, and that's because I'm exerting enough tension to lock up the flyer arm. So if you want to spin one-handed, this is definitely the wheel to use. And I let that spin up a little too much. But you can also see that as I release, it effortlessly takes up onto the wheel. I got a lot of extra spin in that because I was showing off there and I allowed it to idle. Try to go really thin there, and it's extremely friendly to that. You can get as much take-up as you want. It's not going to limit the take-up just because of the extra control device in the capstan arm. You can do 2 things to increase tension to the point where it's every bit as aggressive as you could possibly want. I mean, it'll literally pull it out of your hands if that's what you like to spin with. But then when you go down to really fine fiber, you can resume utilizing the means of just slowing it down. And you'll notice if you look that I'm having no problem allowing it to take up. And I'm also having no problem doing my draw, which I'm, use sort of a weird technique. But I'm also getting lots of spin because I'm able to use a high speed without worrying about the take up. This thing will go up to, I think, close to 3,000 RPM at this point. So it's capable of extremely high speeds for those that like that. And I actually find it easier to spin at a slightly higher speed for some reason. I don't quite know why. But I'm getting plenty of spin on this. Just show you, it'll wind up on itself nice and tight. There's all these little pips. And again, it's delayed start. And it's also a nice soft start. It doesn't jerk into action. but we love to spin, and I could just do this all day, so I won't. But you'll find the hollow chest that I'm spinning on actually amplifies the noise of the wheel. And the wheel itself is very quiet. It's just a nice little whisper. A little unexpected boon of using the old Hope chest for a stand here. But very, very quiet, soft sound from it, and it has a nice rhythm to it. And again, whispery quiet. So that's the intro to the wheel, and that shows you how to basically set it up and use it. And I'll make a separate video here and show you how to break it down and put it in the case. So I'll probably want to secure my yarn here, just wind it around this knob. And you see that knob becomes a handy retaining device for my spun material. And there you have it. Second video coming up.